Hey, welcome back, guys. Told you guys we wouldn't be gone too long. Here with us right now is Perci Garner, former Cleveland Indians pitcher, our good friend and host of the 99 Miles Per Hour with Perci Garner podcast. We actually have a little bit of highlights of his podcast for you guys to check out, so enjoy this 30 seconds of pure Perci. Man, that was pretty awesome. Are we back, Kyle?
We back.
We're back. Hey, that was pretty awesome. Like I said, Perci grew up with myself and Josh. I was actually the catcher for Perci when I won my first ever championship at 12 years old.
Yeah, so your hand hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, shout out R.A. Mosier. So, we go way back. Thanks for being with us today, Perci. This is awesome.
Well, you guys are blowing up. I appreciate you guys having me here, showing my little highlight from the podcast. And, it all started with Josh here, and I try to shout you guys out as much as I can. You guys are doing big things. 1,000 subscribers.
It's nuts. It's nuts. I know.
Shoot, I'm jealous, but hey, the things you guys are doing is great. I love it. And my mic is good. Put it closer.
Kyle's just saying he wants you to lift the end of the mic.
He wants me to eat the mic.
Hey, we're doing it live. There's going to be problems. We're doing it live.
Yes. Especially from I ain't as big as these dudes. They know what they're doing. But I'm just looking forward for Justin Fields to go number 1 tonight. Here we go.
Okay.
Well, we're not going to get into what team you root for because, we're going to be nice to you on the podcast.
You got a Cleveland shirt on. That's good enough for us, man.
But what I do want to talk about, I was almost drafted, but I didn't quite make it. But
if they would have called, you'd probably been interested.
Yeah, I had the phone on. Maybe my phone died. I didn't have service that day. But there's not many people out there who know what it's like to be preparing for. Honestly, I mean, you're married and you've got kids now, but I would imagine before that, and who knows, when your wife's not listening, getting drafted was probably one of the biggest days of your life.
I mean, it was great, one step above having my kids. No, I'm just but being drafted, it was definitely nerve-wracking, butterflies, all that stuff. I had a draft party because I was looking to go in the first round. Didn't go in the first round.
That's okay.
The Indians actually passed on me in the first round, so.
What a bunch of D-bags. You went like 15 rounds higher than I did, so you're still good.
Yeah, I ended up going to the second round of the Phillies, but that experience was amazing. It was something that obviously I'm always going to remember, and signing that dotted line with my signing bonus was a great feeling too.
Yeah,
I can tell you how much.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was $500,000.
Okay.
Drinks are on Perci today.
Hey, brother, I'm going to take a Hoodle Hill, whatever you get a chance.
And like you said, I got kids and a wife.
You got mouths to feed.
How expensive our wives are.
Right.
So, obviously to get to that level, you have to be not just physically ready, mentally ready. What goes into preparing for something like this?
Man, I will tell you, it was a struggle. The mental part I was not ready for. Physically, I feel like I was ready. Coach Schiff had us both. We was ready, lifting weights and stuff. But the mental capacity at professional sports is something as fans that we take for granted. And I definitely was not ready for that level of preparedness that I had to have. But I learned, and eventually, I was able to make the debut with the Indians, and I'm glad I did instead of with the Phillies. Who would want to make it to the big leagues in 2 years? Might as well do it in 6,
Exactly. I don't know if you know this, but the first game that you pitched for the Indians, I was up at that game with a friend of mine and my wife, and I was wearing a Dover football T-shirt, and I probably got almost just as much screen time as you did that night.
They were just gunning for anybody in the crowd, anything related to Perci that night.
They started talking about how you were from Dover, Ohio, and you were local and stuff, and obviously they found me because I'm like 3 seats wide. And And my phone just started blowing up, and I got home. It still pops up.
Yeah, funny thing is that was the first time I knew Blake was dating Kiva. Was seeing him on the live screen on that day. So
I was keeping her hidden.
Yeah.
I couldn't let her meet you guys yet.
I was there for the first night. It was a rough night. Almost didn't get married. Inside story. It was a crazy night.
Oh, sorry to get us off topic.
I do want to touch on the, like you said, the mental part. It was more than you were what you thought, when you're getting into this. I think something as fans that we don't ever realize is, the athletes, you guys are just people.
Well, they're not just people, but a lot of especially these guys tonight, they're 20, 21, 22 years old.
Yeah, you don't think about that when you're cussing your TV out against Ohio State. These kids are 17 years old.
Yeah.
They're fresh out of high school. So, I think that's just something that we have a hard time remembering. And it's kind of nice, like I said, I know you. Some people see you and they're like, oh my God, it's Perci. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Perci? Because you're just a guy. So, that's something I think it's tough for people to remember.
Yeah, for me, I didn't really think about that part of the game. I was just worrying about, having to face Barry Bonds or something like that.
Right.
But just knowing what it takes to compete on that level is challenging for someone who's 18, 19, 21, or for Dominican and Venezuelan people, 16. So they come over here, granted, baseball is their whole life, but it's tough to know ahead of time what you're getting yourself into. You just really... I know I was just thinking about the money, what I was going to buy with my money, and becoming a millionaire, making it to the big leagues. But the one thing I think people don't understand is what goes into it, how much effort you put into it, how much time you spend with your teammates over your actual kids and wife, and to have someone, just kind of bash you behind a keyboard. It's tough for some people, but the quicker you get over that, the more successful you'll be.
It kind of you kind of lucked out. I won't say lucked out that you ended up on the Indians, because of course it would have been nice to just stay on the Phillies and make it right away. But you're an hour and a half away from home. You know what I mean? So during, the Indians are on a home stretch, you got to go home and sleep in your own bed, see your kids, see your wife. Some of these young kids are going to get drafted tonight, are going to be on another part of the country. Some of these kids have never seen snow. They're going to go up and play in Seattle. Or New England.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Homesickness, people in America, we think, oh, we go to college, I'm homesick, I'm 3 hours from home. But, a lot of these, especially the foreign kids or the 18-year-olds who maybe live in Texas and get drafted and have to go to, Florida or the West Coast, they're a flight away from their families. So it's a different, atmosphere. And I would say the Indians, they do a great job of caring for their players and making you feel home. I'm not going to throw any other teams under the bus, but other teams don't really focus on that. They expect you to mature on your own and kind of just adapt to the situation, but not everybody can adapt, and even the most talented players might not be able to make it just because they can't get over that part.
I do want to ask, I'm a big Tito fan, so what, you've obviously got to meet and interact with Terry Francona. What's that like? World Series winning coach you got to play for.
Well, first, I was expecting him to be like Coach Ift. We know how Coach Ift is. He'll tear your head off. But Tito was totally opposite. He invited me into his office as soon as I got up there, and he was talking about being a part of the playoff roster, and he actually gave me a compliment and a nickname, which Lindor stole, but Lindor's gone now, so we're good. But, he said I led the league in smiles, and I'd only been there for 1 day.
I remember that.
And but he's ultimate players coach. Players would be in there playing cards with him in his office. Open door policy, being able to talk to him at any time, and he's just a good human being.
That's awesome. I've always kind of wondered what that was like. You're going to say something?
I have just a very random question.
Oh, gosh.
So, I grew up a fan of the 95 Indians. Have you ever met my guy, Albert Bell? Has he ever just popped in?
Albert Bell?
Yes.
Unfortunately, out of the 95-96 amazing Indians teams, I've met Kenny Lofton, Jim Thome.
Yes. Go ahead, preach,
but never met Albert Bell, and he was one of my favorite too.
Me too, bro. Me too. Yeah.
But a lot of those dudes are good. Jim Thome's even though he's a Hall of Famer, and the term big league, and he doesn't do that. He talked to me. He was like, "Hey, I know Dover. It's on 77," and all that stuff. So he was real cool about it. I got to play with him for a couple days while he was injured. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, before we get out of here, I did want to ask if you could talk to any of these guys who are going to get drafted here tonight, these young kids. what advice would you give them to go forward to, to put their best foot forward, to make the roster and make an impact for a team?
I would definitely say, don't think like I did. When you think in terms of financials, take that slow. And when you think of, your skills, you want to hone in on those. You want to literally focus on, first of all, visualizing yourself being there. Because when I was with the Phillies, I didn't think it was possible because we weren't allowed to talk to just Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. They were like a million miles away, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so great. But you got to visualize yourself being a part of the huddle. If you're on the Bucs, you got to vision yourself catching passes from Tom Brady, and then just shadow those guys and kind of copy what they do. Film study, all that stuff. It's all the monotonous, boring stuff. Unfortunately, you just got to master it.
Yeah, I never, obviously didn't get drafted, but just from, the little bit of sports I did play, it was the hard work during the week is what made us successful on the field on Friday nights. The people who would always kind of get jealous of the football players because, we'd get like nice T-shirts and that kind of stuff, they didn't see that we were doing 3-hour practices Monday through Friday, film studies in the morning with conditioning, 2-a-days in the off season. We're putting in 30 hours of football during the week, and that's where people become successful, the behind the scenes kind of work.
Exactly. You can't put it better than that, Blake.
I've been working on my interview skills. I'm going to get drafted to the ESPN league.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be lovely to see you up there.
But they got a weight limit.
Yeah, you guys blowing up here. I'm ready to see this Dawgs. I might start, make Steel Curtain? No.
Oh, here we go.
You're going to have to find a different network.
I'm messing. I love the Steelers, but I love the Browns. I know that's not possible for most people. But when I was growing up, this is my excuse. When I was growing up, the Browns didn't have a football team. Once I started liking football, the Steelers had a black quarterback, number 10. So, Cordell Stewart, I had to do it, And they were winning and they were good. So
No excuse. No excuse.
My dad went to college with Jack Lambert, too. That's
yeah. No excuse. No excuse. Yeah, absolutely not.
I've wondered how many people that, Browns fans, have lost over these last 20 years that the team has absolutely sucked.
Not me, bro.
Well, I know not you and not
they're
us.
coming back now, though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We love the Browns the whole time.
Yeah. I got a waiver you have to sign to jump on this bandwagon.
That's right.
Well, hey, man, it was awesome having you out here. We really appreciate you stopping on. This was awesome.
Oh, this was great. I'm about to go finish my fried pickles.
See you, man.
All right, thanks, Perce.
Hey, we want to thank Percy for being on the show. That was awesome. When we started this podcast, one, I didn't think we'd ever be doing a live draft party. Two, if we did, I didn't think we'd ever be getting, former professional athletes kind of mindset and look into what it goes into draft night for these players. And like we talked about on there, you don't think about it. Some of these kids getting drafted are going to be 18 years old.
Yeah.
When I was 18, I was not ready to be given the keys to anything.
Terrible decisions.
I was destroying my mom's house. just destroying it.